This is a hand grenade from Star Wars called Thermal Detonator. This is probably the hardest part. I'm gonna try first with sandpaper on my Dremel wheel and try and cut off all of this. Okay, this is what it looks like now. It's really rough right now. I need to sand it again, so we're gonna try this now and sand it down until I get all the rough stuff off. Okay, so I've just sanded it. I chopped a little bit of the sandpaper off and was just doing it by hand. But you can still see that there are a lot of dents. So I moved down to, I think this is like 100 or maybe even 200. And we're going to just sand out all of those little grooves and gashes that were made from the 60 grit wheel. Okay, and now the sanding mostly just made it so that we can distinguish. Sanding with this made it so that we can distinguish the stuff that I've just sanded and this. It does take down some of the bumps, but now once I sand this, now it's much smoother. So it's smoothing out the ball here. It's not really filling anything in, but it's just melting it slightly, and it gives it a little bit of a sheen. Oh, there we go. Now you can see some of the line. I'm just going to make a ring around of lines so that I can cut out this notch here. Well, now you can see there's a bunch of lines there, and they're all evenly spaced, so I can just find the center line. I'll just trim it or get my Dremel out and cut the grooves now. And I also forgot to mention you're going to need a soldering iron. And this is where we make these grooves here. So I'm just gonna start here and melt it up to my center point, which is like right here. So I actually did that terribly. And then I'm just gonna copy this one, and we're just gonna draw a bunch of lines then. And you want to make sure you make them of different sizes, because you don't want all of these to be the same width. You gotta make some thin ones and some larger ones. Okay, now I'm just gonna mark different lines, because they have to, one piece has to stick down like this and another piece has to stick up. So I'm just gonna design that bit now. Then we're going to just take a lighter and melt the inside of these grooves. It'll smooth it all out and make it easier to paint in here. Now we take a red Sharpie and just Sharpie this. And now we've got a red button. here we go. Now I just have to add a rubber piece on top of here. That's what I did for, oh wait, where is it? Here it is. I added a rubber piece on top of the metal, and I'll just epoxy that on. This is glued now. We can take everything off of here. And we can trim it all the way down. Here I'm filing some grooves into the rubber, not all the way through because that would make it come off. So I painted this. It is very rough, as you can see. I'll sand it all down again between coats, and I'll do that 2 or 3 times, and then it'll be really smooth. And now we can lather this thing in different paints and weather it all. We're going to use this dark brown, and it's kind of, the paint's all separated. I don't know why, but it's going to work perfectly as dirt. We're just gonna brush it in everywhere. Make sure it's really wet. So we really just want to get all the cracks filled in. I'm gonna take a paper towel and just kind of dab it a little bit. Not too much, because I still want it to look dirty, but a little bit. So I don't want tons of chunks of dirt in here. So I'm gonna clean those out a bit better. And now I'm gonna add in some reddish orange. And this stuff, I'm just gonna stick it in some of the cracks. This is gonna be more like sand or clay. Then we're gonna do the same thing like this and rub pretty much everything off. If you get it wet, it will come off a little bit better. Okay, it's looking pretty nice and dirty, and I'm just now gonna add a few little grass stains to it. Now I'm gonna make me a nice concoction of colors. Alright, and it's done now. It looks very messy. And I used a different metallic paint, which I think looks way better on here. So comparison of the two, I made the grooves a lot deeper on this one than on this one, which I like. I didn't paint this. I probably should have. I like the paint on this one, the older one. This one I used a more shinier paint, which is actually how it's supposed to be. So I like this being much shinier, better. This one, the slider didn't work quite as well. It was just a little bit harder to make. mainly, I like the shiny paint better. I might actually just repaint this one entirely just to get the shine for them to match. But there you go.